Well, I think a lot of your viewers would know about Jeffrey Epstein, not least because he's currently the subject of a very popular documentary on Netflix about his life. But the disgraced financier was convicted of sex crimes with minors a little over a decade ago, and then he was charged and arrested last year with sex trafficking and accused of procuring a number of underage girls for sexual acts, and then committed suicide in August last year, or what appears to have been suicide, in his jail cell in New York. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell's role in all of this is that she was his best friend, one of his closest friends, particularly in the mid-90s. And many of the girls who have come out and said they were abused by Jeffrey Epstein have said that the sex trafficking ring, or the alleged sex trafficking ring, appeared to be run by Ms. Maxwell. And they've long called for her to be investigated and for her to be charged, which is what happened today. The FBI turned up at a large mansion in the state of New Hampshire, north of New York, and arrested her, and she has been charged and even appeared by video link pretty briefly this afternoon as well.
So what are the charges she's facing?
So there are a whole heap of different allegations that have been made against Ms. Maxwell over the years, but two of these charges relate to perjury charges in 2016, which was part of the investigation into Mr. Epstein. The ones that are getting the most attention are four other charges that relate to the abuse of minors between 1994 and 1997. Jeffrey Epstein was a very, very wealthy man, very, very well connected, and he had properties in New York, Palm Beach, Florida, and also a massive ranch in New Mexico, as well as his own private Caribbean island. And in those places, it's alleged that Ms. Maxwell went out, found vulnerable young women, befriended them, took them to the movies, bought them things, got their trust, lured them back to some of these properties, got them indebted, or in the way that they felt indebted to Mr. Epstein, and then normalised sexual acts by undressing in front of them, talking about sex, and then which basically laid the groundwork for the abuse, which, as many people will know already, sometimes came in the form of massages, either naked massages or partially nude, and that is when a lot of the abuse took place. And we've actually heard from a couple of Mr. Epstein's accusers today who say they are very, very happy that Ms. Maxwell has been charged, and they really hope that this kind of gives the prosecution a bit more momentum to go after other people who are alleged to be involved in this sex trafficking ring, because we heard from prosecutors today, again, they were asked about Prince Andrew, and they said they would like a statement from Prince Andrew. They said that would be very, very helpful. And
what's Ghislaine Maxwell had to say about the charges?
Her lawyer hasn't said a whole lot. For these allegations about her have been around for quite a long time. There's been a number of civil suits. There's been a number of big media interviews, more to do with Mr. Epstein himself, but accusing her of doing these things, and she has always denied them. If she is convicted of these crimes, she could spend decades behind bars, and the whole process of going to court and the like could see her actually jailed in the same facility where Mr. Epstein appears to have killed himself, or did kill himself in August last year. So that's kind of one of the interesting twists in all this. But really, Joe, I think the biggest news out of today is the fact that these charges have actually been laid, and that prosecutors are moving forward with this case, because the big fear among people who've been investigating Mr. Epstein, and indeed among some of his alleged victims, was that with his death he may have taken too many secrets with him and too much evidence, and so that nobody would be brought to justice. And all the victims today are effectively saying that this is a very good step towards achieving some sort of closure over this fairly widespread sex trafficking ring.